Jamaica. I already moved to the United States, but I went to Jamaica on business and I decided I was going to take my children with me. I had two daughters at the time, so I took them back to Jamaica with me. And so I didn't want to take them to the hotel, so I decided I was going to rent a little room from someone that a family friend had introduced me. They have a nice house and they had a room that was vacant, and she said okay, they was going to go ahead and rent me the room. So anyway, this was back in I think about 95. So I packed up my kids and packed my barrel and everything, and we all went to Jamaica. Went to the room, nice to the room. It was nice and clean. She had a kitchen and everything. It was a nice house, nice comfy room, and the room that I rented also had a bathroom in it, so I didn't have to like use their bathroom. And they had a bathroom on the outside of the yard too, but we never have to use the bathroom outside. Everything was just nice. I just basically had to use the kitchen. And you know, when you got Jamaica, you're foreigner, you go out go eat and so that wasn't no problem. It was nice, and the lady that I rented the room was awesome. She was beautiful. She was nice. Anyway, I was there, having a good time, doing my business and everything. But I noticed now at nighttime, I felt a little bit strange in the room, like I was being watched. It just felt like something was in the room. So anyway, I always had a Bible with me. So I always take the Bible out and put it at the side of my bed, said a prayer and everything. But every night it just got creepier and creepier to the point where I didn't want to leave the light off. But certain times of the night, we just said if the lady saw the light on, she would be like, "Young lady, turn off the light, turn off the light." So anyway, my kids was there with me, so I felt a little bit safe. At least I wasn't in the room by myself. But then the business took longer than I thought it was going to take, so I had to eventually send my kids back to the US so they could go to school. So anyway, I had a girlfriend in Jamaica at the time. Me and her are still friends up to this day, but she was living on the other side of from where I was living. She had to take the bus go home and them something that, but I always like to have her stay with me in the room. But she had a son, so she couldn't really stay with me every night in the room and stuff like that. So but she would come very often and stay with me. But then I noticed that she said she didn't like to stay in the room because she was having bad dreams, and then she felt like somebody was holding her down and all of that stuff. But anyway, one particular night I'm in the bed and I'm sleeping, and then all of a sudden I know I was like maybe half sleep, half wake, but I'm laying on my back. I had said my prayer and everything like I always do because I feel afraid. For some reason, I just feel scared. So I said my prayer, and then I kind of fell asleep. But during that sleep, I saw a figure walk through the closed door. Good, even see a figure clear walk through the closed door, and it was a man. He came to the door. I remember he was wearing a blue shirt, one of them like a blue sweatshirt with the elastic at the waist, and he stopped at the door. He came to the door, but he stopped at the door. So I'm laying in the bed, but I can't move and I can't talk and I can't do nothing. I'm just laying, looking straight dead at him, and then all of a sudden, I just felt weird. I just felt like really funny. Can't move. He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. And then he started to like laugh, like after that smirky smile laughing on his face. And then suddenly from the other side of the room, I saw my grandmother. My grandmother appeared. My grandmother and I was really, really close. My grandmother like raised me, and she had passed away she was passed away when I was about 21. And so my grandmother, I saw her from the corner of the room, and she said to me, "June," because that's what she calls me, June. She said, "June, rebuke him in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit." She said, "Rebuke him. Let it come from the pit of your stomach. Rebuke him right now." And I started to say, "I rebuke in the name of the Father and the Son. I rebuke in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit." And at first, when I started to say it, he acted like it wasn't bothering him. But then I remember my grandmother saying, rebuke him, let it, with all that you have inside of you. And I started to like say it with more compassion, with more meaning and more firmness. And then suddenly I seen him starting to spin in a circle. At first he was still acting like it wasn't bothering him, but then I know that it did start to affect him, because he started making a funny sound, and he started spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning until finally he just disappeared, and I just woke up out of my dream. But anyway, I know I felt kind of weird, and I did share what happened to me with the people who had recommended me to rent that room. And what was I laughing about? It wasn't it taking it serious or not. She was like, you must eat too much before you go to bed. And I just figured maybe it was just a vivid imagination. It wasn't real. All right, I just kept going along my way. My girlfriend would come over sometimes still. I would still try to get my girlfriend to come and stay with me sometime. But like I said before, she had a son, so she had to go. So I'm in this room by myself. I would stay out late just to prevent myself from coming home too early. But me have to come on my bed, right? The Jamaica, me have to come on my bed. Anyhow, now this particular night, now goody, and I will never forget this. I'm going to share this with you. I'm in my bed. I said my prayer like I always do when I'm in my bed and I'm sleeping. And then from the left corner of the left side of my eye, I seen the same man walking through the closed door again. He stopped at the door. Then he looked back. Then I seen another person coming through the closed door, but the person that came through the door with him this time was a woman, an old lady. She was short. She was wearing like a dark brown dress with a dark brown hat to match. The dress was tight fitting on her body. She was a very small, petite lady, dark complexion, and around her waist was one of them broad belt that when people used to wear. I mean, back in Jamaica, them time the people used to make those kind of belt. One of them, I don't know, really, buckled belts. My mother was a seamstress, so she used to make those belts all the time. People used to make them clothes, and they always made homemade belt. So she was wearing one of those belts around her waist. Everything she had on basically was dark brown. Her hat, her frock, her belt, dark brown. She even had on gloves on her hand that was dark brown. I seen her clear. And the thing was so real. I tell you, goody, I was not sleeping all the way through because I was seeing everything like it was daylight. He stopped at the door. She came through and she kept walking towards my bed. She walked towards my bed, but while she's walking towards my bed, at this point, I'm not able to move. I'm not able to speak. I could not blink an eye. I could not open my mouth. I'm trying. In my mind, I remember what my grandmother had said to me earlier was to rebuke that person, that same man that came in the room the couple of days before. And I was trying to say the Lord's Prayer, and I'm trying to scream out, and nothing is coming out of my mouth this time. The lady walked towards the bed, and she stand over me. I could see her standing over me. And let me tell you something. This is an experience I will never forget. I felt my body. The lady was sucking the life out of me. I felt my heart slowly stopping. Boop, 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 boop. I felt my heart slowing down. And I felt my body leaving the bed. I could feel my body lifting from the bed. And I was able to kind of glance down from the corner of my eye to see, because I wasn't feeling my body touching the bed anymore. And when I looked down, I could see my body floating from above the bed. The lady was standing right over me with the wickedest, evilest eyes. And the woman, the feeling that I got from her was like she was there to hurt me, to harm me. And then I was kind of struggling, like trying to scream. The lady that I was staying with, that I rented a room from, her name, people used to call her auntie. So I'm screaming, I'm saying the Lord's Prayer, I'm doing everything. The lady is sucking the life out of me. I still can't move, can't scream, can't do nothing. But I know that I feel my body elevated from the bed. And suddenly, with everything that I had in me, I was able to scream out the lady's name. The lady was, everybody called her auntie. And I said, auntie! One time. And when I said auntie one time, I felt my body slowly going back down. Because at this time now, I'm not sleep. I couldn't never be sleeping because I'm seeing everything and I'm feeling everything. But I'm able to go down. I felt my back touching the bed. I felt when I basically was laid back down in the bed, and I saw the lady and the man walking back out the door. They turned around and looked at me and then walked right through the closed door. When the lady, they heard me scream, because her room was across the hall from my room where I rented, and she heard me scream. I screamed so loud, it waked the lady out of her sleep. As she ran in the room, I was sweating like a cow about to be slaughtered. And that's how much I was sweating. My nightie was wet from sweat. She flicked the light on and just said, young lady, because that's what she'd call me. She said, young lady, what's wrong? What's wrong? Mr. Somebody in the room, two people in the room are trying to kill me. And she said, okay, come and stay with me in my room. No, I'm a grown woman now in my 30s, and this lady is taking me into her room. That's how terrified I was. I could not sleep in the room. She said, come and stay in the room with me and sleep in my bed tonight. And she had a daughter the daughter was probably about 15. And so I crawl up in the bed with she and our daughter the night. The next morning, I was so out of it, I couldn't even speak. All I did was just go in her bed and just crawl up behind her. The next morning she wake up, she said, young lady, what happened last night? I said, auntie, I have to tell you what happened. And just like I'm telling you, I told her the exact thing that happened to me. And she said to me, if you want to describe the lady that you saw and the man that you saw. And I said, yes. She said, I'm going to give you an album. I'm going to show them. You go through the album, and if you see anybody that you know in the album, just point them out and tell me if those are the people that you saw. And so she came back to the room, because the room that I was staying in had a little sitting room, and she came back into the room, and we all sat, me and she and the girl that had helped me to get the room there, and her daughter that was 15. I don't want to call no names here because this is real stuff. So anyway, we all sat there in the living room with the album, and I'm going through it. The first 3 or 4 pages of the album I came across a man that was in the same blue shirt with the elastic waist that came to the door. My grandmother told me I must rebuke him. I saw the man and I said to her, that's the man that I saw come into the room the first night. And she said, point at it. And I said, this right here. And she said, you know, young lady, that is my brother. And I said, that's your brother? She said, yes, that's my brother, and he died in the room that you're staying in. That's his room that he used to stay in, and the bed that you're sleeping in, he passed away in that bed. So that's his room. I said, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. She said, keep going. And I turned about 2 more pages in the album, the big photo album she had. And when I turned the 2 pages, who I saw was the woman. I said, this is the woman. She said, oh my goodness, that is my mother. I said, you got to be kidding. I said, I saw her. And she said, yeah, that's what she was buried in, that same brown dress. I said, oh my God. I said to her, I love you and everything, but guess what? I'm packing my stuff and I'm out of here. I'm not staying another night in here. She said, I understand that my mother was a very evil woman, but let's just pray and hope that she rests in peace some kind of way. But goody, she never have to tell me that twice. My bags was already packed before me even sure the who was in those pictures. I was out of here. You best believe. Now, that was my ghost story. If you have your ghost story, let me know what you experienced down below. Alright? If you like it, thumbs it up, share it, and let me know if you want to see me do more story times.